streaming to you from the heart of the bluegrass. Produced by the University of Kentucky College of Engineering. It's Engineering Live! Now let's meet your all-star cast of College of Engineering students. Amna, Mafan, Abby, Bella, Raleigh, Chris, Auburn, Kaylee, Michael, and your host, John Roberts. Our student panel is ready to answer all of your questions about the College of Engineering. So let's go inside the Courage Media Studios for Engineering Live.
Welcome to Engineering Live with UK's College of Engineering. I'm your host, John Roberts. Thank you all for joining us. Tonight we will be talking about next steps for admitted students, campus life and community and careers. We will also deep dive into the return of investment for engineering degrees, co-ops, and internships as well. While we chat with our students, we definitely want you all to engage with us, participate, ask us questions. So we will be answering those questions live, relevant or irrelevant to whatever we're talking about. So definitely participate tonight. As a reminder for admitted students, we have a couple links for you down below in the description and the live chat. So for admitted students, May 1st is the deadline for C-Blue, U orientation, and housing. So like I said, you can get more information and register for both of those at the links below in the description, as well as the live chat. Before we begin our discussion on next steps for admitted students, enjoy this clip that highlights move-in week, one of my favorite times of the year at the Engineering Residential College. So we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Moving day, it's a stressful process, but it's really fun. It's how the whole engineering community comes together. You're welcoming so much people into one place. Being there and helping people like unload their carts. I was surrounded by my professors. I was surrounded by administration people at the College of Engineering. I was surrounded by the staff at the residence hall, the peer mentors, the resident advisors. It was just the big engineering community coming together to welcome all the freshman class.
Welcome back to Engineering Live. So we're here with our first student panel to talk about next step for admitted students. So like I said, one of the first things that admitted students are doing, of course, is housing and applying for that. And so you all lived in the Living Learning program. So let's talk about that experience. So what kind of experience did you all have with the Living Learning program? How was that beneficial to you all?
Yeah, so it was a great experience. One of the favorite things that I did was like meet up with people from my class and work on projects. And so that really helped like get those first relationships that we needed to like succeed in our classes and everything. Get kind of like the study partners, that sort of thing. So
yeah, I totally agree with that. And then Professor L even had office hours in the dorm.
That's cool. Yeah.
So that was like so neat to be able to get help like literally 3 steps down the hallway.
Right.
And like he said, it was really nice to be like, oh, this person's in my calculus class. And they also live 3 doors down, you know, like why don't we study and do our homework together?
Oh, right.
So.
Yeah, naturally.
Yeah, I think like they said, it's really easy to get help in the LLP. It's all readily available. Like one of our introductory classes we take as freshmen is in the building, and there's this giant classroom, and we also hold study sessions for other classes in there. I remember there was this giant Chem 105 study session going on towards the end of finals my freshman year. So that was really useful, and there's just a lot of resources available for people that live in the LLP because it's right there.
Yeah. So naturally, do you think that it enhanced like your first year, gave you like the start on the right foot kind of thing?
Yeah, definitely,
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
Another good thing about like the classroom and everything was that you could like certain like clubs and everything, they could have like events like movie nights, that sort of thing, and a whole bunch of different stuff. I know there was like root beer with an engineer, that was sort of
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So
so-
you all got to meet some UK alumni in engineering.
Yeah.
Cool. So how was that experience? Like, did you all like were able to like build
Yeah, so
connections?
so we were able to like ask questions about experiences, that sort of thing. I know there was one lady that came. I think it was from like, ExxonMobil maybe or something, and she was working in Saudi Arabia, and she actually like went out in the desert and did all sorts of fun like 4x4 stuff. So that was really cool to see all that, in addition to like building like big refineries out there and stuff. So
As like a freshman, you kind of come in and you have these conceptions about how you think engineering is going to be, and some people don't even have like a general idea of how it's going to be. I know I didn't. So talking to like people that have actually like gone through it and are actually working like that is extremely useful, because you kind of get more of a clear picture of what you're getting yourself into.
Right.
And they also shared like their experience of what they wish they would have known in college, you know, which was like really helpful. And they even talked about getting co-ops and internships with their companies as well.
Yeah. So early on, that's like super important
Yeah.
to get to know a little bit about. So real quick though, we have N from Newport, Kentucky that joined us. So N, thank you so much for being with us. Chatted with him earlier today. So prospective student coming in potentially for next fall. So yeah, excited that you're joining us. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about orientation. So that's a super important piece of the next steps for admitted students. So C Blue U orientation, of course. So what was your all's experience as far as orientation? How was that helpful to you all?
I thought orientation was great. Like, it was really nice to be able to meet Jennifer Dorge, which she's amazing as an advisor.
she's awesome.
Knew my name from the first time I
yeah.
met her. And I was so nervous about registering for classes. I was like, I'm not going to get in the seats. Literally, I got in every single class that I needed. There was like 30 seats open. It's really like stressful. You like hit the button, you know, and I was like, wow, this is so real. I'm really registered for college. Here's my schedule. You know, it really kind of just put everything into perspective and really helped me meet other freshman students as well.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a big thing is you're put with these people that are all going through the same thing you're going through. So it kind of makes you feel a lot more comfortable during the whole process. And also like one of my biggest worries, just like Auburn said, like I'm like, oh, am I going to get into everything I need to get into and everything? And I was really hugely concerned about that. But it's not as rigid as people think. It's a very fluid process. That like Jennifer, one of the best advisors I've ever had. And she's just really able to work with the students and just make sure everything goes as smoothly as possible.
Yeah.
right, and even more so getting to know people and stuff. I remember how they had like information sessions, and so one of those was about these scholars in engineering and management. And so I actually met a couple people there that I've been good friends with, and we've worked on stuff in different classes and hung out with. So it's really good to have those connections from basically day one. Basically day one.
Oh
so.
yeah, we kind of trifecta
Well,
on the
the same
same
students.
So yeah, definitely. So do you think that just being able to that whole orientation piece just made you feel a little bit more at peace coming in?
Yeah, definitely.
It is a surreal experience because you're
Yeah.
just like I'm going into college.
Yeah, I'm
like
doing
this
it.
is the next step in my life. I mean, so it's kind of a really big eye opener, but
Right.
it also makes you feel more comfortable with the fact that you're going up there, and also like you get to spend some time on UK's campus,
Right.
so you can get kind of familiarize yourself with the campus itself, which makes the whole process a lot smoother,
Right.
more comfortable.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we have a couple more students, Dustin and Ben Melton. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's good to see you all here. So I know that we have some questions coming in. So we're going to go ahead and start taking some questions from the audience. So Fusion wanted us to talk a little bit more about Woodland Glen 3. So we've already talked a little bit about the Living Learning Program. Specifically, Fusion asked, does the internet actually go down a lot? So did y'all ever have any Wi-Fi issues?
I was on my Wi-Fi a lot there, and I never had any issues. Really, that's not really a problem. The network is pretty stable. And
Sure.
like as far as that being concerned, not really. No. I mean, every network kind of has like goes in and out.
Naturally.
Yeah, sometimes, but it's hardly something that happens like all the time. I don't know where
Yeah.
That's
I noticed a couple times maybe at midnight it like
Yeah.
slowed down.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
But you know,
I mean,
usually
Yeah,
you try not
peak
to stay
times
up.
where everybody's
Yeah.
using them, using the Wi-Fi and whatnot. So
Oh, man,
naturally,
yeah.
but
The 11:59 submit.
yeah, surely
I
not.
gotta get
right?
it in. Yeah.
That's hilarious. So Logan is curious to know how different is the level of difficulty of college classes from high school.
All right, I actually have a good personal story for this one.
Fantastic.
So, I know a lot of students that go into engineering. You kind of have this thought process that it's going to be a lot like I did so well in high school. Like it's going to be a breeze. I thought the same thing. I thought I was going to have an easy time with it, and then my first calculus exam came around. I didn't do so hot, and it really dawned on me that this is a whole new ball game being in college. It's a whole new type of studying. It's a whole new type of preparing yourself, and you really kind of have to, because in high school you have a lot of hand holding and a lot of in college a lot of this stuff is on your own. You do have access to resources for help, but at the end of the day you're an adult. You have to be responsible, and that's kind of like the big eye opener about college is you really have to be able to manage yourself, manage your activities, manage your studying, pick and choose what you got to do. Don't overload yourself.
Right.
Right. So like what I kind of did to manage that was like during like the first month I was like super, like you just really do stuff like to the nth degree, just try to get everything done.
Yeah.
Check all your boxes, cross your T's, dot all your I's. If you do that for like the first month, you get the hang of it, and then you're good
And I would
to go,
agree.
so.
There's a whole bunch of resources available at UK
Yeah.
from like the study and office hours or like the physics learning center. I can tell you that I like lived in the physics learning center for my first semester.
Yeah.
And it was like so helpful, and all my professors have been willing to go like the extra step and out of their way to make sure you understand the content. So really it's just up to you, as you said, to take advantage of those resources.
Right.
While the university may provide those resources, it's up to the student themselves to make that choice to do that. And that's one of the things that I didn't do coming in, and I feel like that something
Right. Naturally,
definitely-
it's up to the students to raise their hand and say, I need help.
Yeah, I need some help.
Yeah.
And you can get it really easily here.
Absolutely. Alan Plays says hi, so thank you, Alan,
Hey, what's up,
for joining us tonight. So we have N from Newport, Kentucky. He says, what type of engineering would you say is the best? No biases here.
Oh, the best kind.
Yeah.
That's a really hard question. Every engineering discipline kind of focuses on, different principles, and that's one of the best things about our first year engineering program. Is when I came in, I was undecided engineering. I had no idea what engineering really was, and one of the best things about it was we got to dip our toes in all the different disciplines.
Right.
And like as soon as I did CAD, I was like, this ain't for me. So anything with CAD, I'm not doing it. But like so civil engineering's out. But it would help me whittle down my choices and like everything, and kind of because it's all up to how like what you want to do. It's
Right.
Every engineering discipline focuses on different things for different people. So it really comes down to the type of person you are.
Absolutely. Yeah, and your goals and what you're trying to achieve.
Exactly.
Right. You're right.
Yep.
Yeah, very good. Some more questions here. So Hannah says, I have a GPA-dependent scholarship. How should I approach balancing my classes in keeping that 3.25 GPA?
I would say really just staying on top of it, and before even the first exam, going to office hours and getting help from resources. Don't wait until the first exam. You want to know that you're prepared, and like really just planning out an agenda is really great to do that as well.
You're gonna want to get a planner for sure. Yeah. Planners are lifesavers.
Absolutely.
As far as keeping track of everything and just making sure you have all your assignments submitted. And I've always said, make sure you do what you have to do before you want what you want to do. And that's work hard, and then you can, do what you can have some fun. But you do have to make sure you take care of what you need to take care of first.
Yeah. And again, getting like that first month or so, like up to the first test, getting that good grade in that first test is really
Very
like
important.
that's so important. Like
Yeah.
if you don't, it's
You want to come out of the gate swinging.
you gotta
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're spending the whole semester digging yourself out of a hole like I was
Yeah,
in
yeah.
calc. So I always give my advice like, don't do what I did,
Yeah.
please.
Right.
Yeah.
And on those famous last words from Michael, we're going to have to move on to our next topic, which is campus life and community. But before we do, enjoy this clip about student organizations in the College of Engineering. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to Engineering Live. We're back with the new student panel to talk about campus life and community. So let's just jump right into it. So one of the first things that students are going to experience when they come to campus is K-Week. And so a lot of people don't know what K-Week is. And so can you all talk about your experience with K-Week? What is it? What can students expect?
So K-Week is a week-long, basically just big event full of lots of activities for students to participate in, and they're hosted by various organizations throughout campus. And yeah, basically it fills a lot of your time during that first week before your classes start, but after you've already moved in, and gives you a chance to meet a lot of other freshmen.
Right, yeah, it really helps because it kind of takes your mind off the fact, you're going to college, this is your first time away from home. It keeps you busy, but also through keeping you busy, it exposes you to all these organizations, as Bella said, that are putting on all these great events and really fun events.
Yeah.
And like they both mentioned, there's just stuff going on left and right, like of all different sorts. And what's nice is usually it's different organizations on campus that are putting on these events. Like CSF, which is our Christian Student Fellowship, it will put on a luau or like a lunch each day. And then there's a big service day with Fusion. And then I know that there's something called Campus Ruckus where all the organizations set up on the JC soccer fields and they just put tables up and you can go around and know about every single organization on campus. And that's a great way to get involved and meet people.
So students get lays and grass skirts too, right?
Yes,
Oh,
absolutely.
that's right.
Raleigh, you talked about the largest water balloon fight.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So my freshman year during K-Week, we had the world's largest water balloon fight, UK. So I think we had...
No big deal.
No big deal. But we had like 750,000 water balloons, and it went on for a long time. So it was really great. It's kind of cool that that's something that happened, at our university. So we're in the Guinness World Record book somewhere. For that.
It's always like the most random things too, because my favorite, we didn't have that my year, but my favorite was there was a Kroger event that was shuttles ran you to Kroger from midnight to 3 a.m. And they had just free stuff going on. It was crazy. It was a lot of fun.
Raleigh's giving out free autographs for Guinness
Yes.
Book of World Records, so that's fun. So with K-Week, I know there's a lot of opportunities, a lot of things going on. How did that help you all feel at home at UK?
Well, for me, I went through sorority recruitment before, so I moved in extra early because of that. And yeah, I just had a lot of free time where you could either be sitting in your dorm doing nothing, or you could be out meeting all these people and going to these fun events. So I made a lot of my really good friends in that first week of college, friends that were in my dorm in Woodland Glen 3. I was in the LLP. And yeah, it was also like I was super eager to join a bunch of organizations when I came to school. So like I already checked the UK directory of like all the clubs and everything. And so like getting to go to Campus Ruckus, like Kaylee mentioned, was fun because I already kind of had an idea of what I was looking for. But even if you didn't, you would get to see them all there for the first time.
Right, yeah. And like during K-Week, you meet all these different people from different organizations, and it kind of makes UK, a big school, feel like a small school. Because then wherever you're walking, you know someone, you say hi. It kind of really makes it feel like, you get that small school feeling.
Even if you're not making like your absolute best friend, just having those familiar faces helps a ton. I know that we did this icebreaker on a football field one day. Like it was literally like all your cheesy icebreakers and like a ton of people doing it. And there was one where it was like, get 12 people in a picture. So you'd count 12 people. I look back at that at the end of last year and I knew everyone except 2 people in it just from meeting them other times on campus.
Oh, that's cool.
Didn't meet them there. So it's nice to like see that you see these people and you will see them again. So I think that K-Week's good to have those familiar faces for sure.
Oh, fantastic. Shout out back to Jennings. Thank you so much for the shout out. She's the next rock star in engineering. I'm convinced of that. So yeah, definitely. Thanks for joining us tonight. Okay, so K-Week is a good time to learn about student organizations. Did you all, were you all able to get involved with your student organizations through K-Week?
Yeah, some of them. I got plugged in with CSF, the Christian Student Fellowship. They really do put on a lot of events, but they're open to all students. Let's see what else. I also did the Fusion Day of Service, which was a really cool experience. We spent like a whole day, my group specifically at the Salvation Army, but there were groups going to all different types of service sites. And yeah, I got to meet a lot of people through that too.
Yeah, for the thing that I really liked, about K Week was that after the engineering orientation they had for all the students, they had like this table session for all the engineering organizations specifically. So you kind of got to go talk one-on-one with the students and see what their clubs are about, you know, if you're interested. So that's really helped you take that first step into getting involved on campus.
And then kind of on the other hand of things, this year I was on the exec team for a group I'm in called Charge. And so we really utilized this K-Week. And when you set up for Campus Ruckus, like we were able to talk about our organization. And so it definitely is a great outlet to find your place on campus.
Absolutely.
So we could spend a lot of time talking about community and student organizations, but we're going to go ahead and move into the Q&A portion, so that way our audience can get some of their questions. We got plenty of them. So we're going to start with Galaxy. Galaxy wants to know, how many hours do you study per week outside of class?
That's a good question. It really depends on the week, the semester, because, you know, obviously around midterms you have a lot more time in the library, but I think the rule of thumb is for every credit hour, it's 3 hours outside of the classroom, if I'm not mistaken. So,
which is about right.
Yeah, I think that's about accurate. So,
and a lot of it might not be studying per se, but like you're sitting there getting homework done, and that will add up. Like that will take a lot of time, and it ends up kind of double dipping because you have to study to know how to finish the homework. And then also I know on weekends, like that's usually where all your hours add up. At least me personally, like I'll hold it off to then, but make sure you leave time so it's not just studying. You always got to take a little lunch break.
Right.
I mean, with your workload, you'll definitely have something to do every night if you do want to work on something every night. But, it comes down to your individual schedule also, and just how you manage your time. That becomes really important.
So Jackson wants to know, what type of non-engineering classes will you take? So such as history, English, etc.
Okay, so there are like certain UK core that you are, supposed to fulfill. One of my favorite classes that I've taken at UK is it's through the honors program. So you do have to be an honors student to take it, but it was called Understanding 9/11, and just like totally different from all the other classes that I took related to engineering. And I just thought it was so interesting.
Oh,
and it's
sure.
still probably my favorite class that I've taken here.
Yeah, right. I think I took like a history something class. It's like ancient Greek and Roman history, and then like I also took an honors course, but it was how the healthcare system worked in the United States. So it's really cool that even though I'm a chemical engineer, not exactly working with the healthcare system, but kind of learning all the ins and outs about that.
And I took a communications class on persuasive speaking. Absolutely loved it because her big thing was, I don't want you to write out the speech. I just want you to do flashcards and speak. And so that was right up my alley. And favorite class so far, honestly. I loved it. And then also I know some people consider getting an MBA after. That's very common. So you can take econ and accounting courses for that. Yeah.
Bella, I have you right beside me. Zach wants to know, what can an out-of-state student do to make new friends on campus and feel more at home at UK?
Okay, so I'm an out-of-state student. I'm from Illinois, and I think just trying to put yourself out there more, like go to all the events that UK offers. Like they really do provide you with all the opportunities that you need to make these new friends. And so I would just say, especially during K-Week, I think it's the perfect opportunity. You don't have classes yet, like you're not busy at all. So you should definitely go and just start making new friends. But also, I did go through sorority recruitment, and that for me was an outlet to make friends. And also just trying to meet your neighbors in your dorm. In Woodland Glen 3, there's kind of more of a social area on the second floor. There's like a ping pong table and a pool table. And there was one night that I was hanging out there and met my best friend that night, like before classes even started in college.
Very cool.
So just giving yourself the opportunity to meet people, I think, is the biggest.
Put yourself out there and take the initiative for sure. Shout out to Illinois from Griffin. So absolutely.
Get out of there.
Yes, definitely. Griffin, thanks for joining us today. Okay, so some other questions that we have. Fusion wants to know, this is a different question for you all, what meal plan do you recommend, or do you recommend not having a meal plan?
I have a lot of opinions about this.
Let's hear it.
In my opinion, you don't need more than 10 meal swipes a week. That's what I went with. It was fine. You're going to use your flex also, but my friends who had 14 didn't use all of them.
Yeah, I had the unlimited meal plan, and I don't think that exists. Yeah, you definitely don't need that. That's way too much food for anybody to ever need.
Because I have the 10 right now, and I can never get up to 10.
So that's 10 is what we're landing on.
I would say.
That's a
And
good
like
number.
I don't know how the plans change year to year, but more flex the better. And that's like, dollars that you can
UK
spend on
dollars.
other. Yeah, it's kind of confusing, but you'll get used to it really
You'll love
quickly.
flex.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so more flex the better. Keep that in mind,
Yes,
too.
yes. So from Olivia, how in depth does the first year engineering program get into each of the disciplines?
It depends on the discipline, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because there are some that they touch very well, especially, well, I guess very well, but I mean, it shows you the basics of certain ones very well because you'll work with coding, or there was a project-based class, and which is design, which a lot of engineering covers. But like I'm chemical, and so I know that first year there wasn't a ton for that, but there was still enough that I knew what was to expect
Right.
with chemical.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the info sessions too that like professors will put on about the individual majors are probably, for me, it was like one of the most helpful things.
That's why you switched, right?
Yeah, so yeah, I was
There you go.
yeah, I was pretty chemical engineering, but now I'm materials engineering. And yeah, just hearing more about like the jobs that you would actually have with that major is what helped me make my decision, because I realized I didn't actually understand what I would be doing if I was chemical.
Fair enough.
They're both chemicals. It's per individual.
Yes. No biases.
No bias. Absolutely.
So Drew wants to know how many students are in your classes on average, and I know that's going to depend too on
Right.
That also
Yeah.
depends on discipline.
departments. Yeah.
Yeah, like I've had classes maybe like with 150 students, and those are kind of the more general like calculus classes.
Yeah.
And then I've also had smaller classes like up to, maybe like 10 students. But the good thing about the larger classes is they have those recitation sections, which break down the giant lecture halls, and basically you get to work like in small groups, like problem solving in that class with like a teaching assistant. So you don't really have to worry about getting lost in that big lecture hall.
And then after your sophomore year, majority of them will be your engineering focused ones, and so they're more like 30 people.
Yeah, those narrow down a lot. And I think something that's really great about UK is just that even our really large lecture hall classes like calc and chem and physics are still taught by professors. And like we do have that one recitation that's taught by a TA, but you do get a lot of like actual time with your professors.
Yeah.
Right.
here.
Right. Kristen wants to know, is the homework written, or is it a project you have to build or research? It's kind of a combination of all
I guess,
of that.
yeah. I would say it really depends on the class, the assignment. Like we've done kind of all of it. We've have written homework assignments or a giant project kind of, or
I think,
really.
well, freshman year is when you'll take those general classes
Yeah.
that Raleigh was talking about that are a lot more people than your smaller, more
Yeah.
focused classes, and those are more online. And then once you get engineering, it's written.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. Olivia wants to know, this will be our last question for this section. Could you share what your favorite student organization is?
Mine's definitely Charge, like I mentioned earlier. I'm going to be the ambassador of it next semester, so I'm very into it. It's a fitness organization for women on campus.
I would say my favorite's Triangle Fraternity. It's our engineering fraternity on campus. So you kind of get to hang out with like-minded people who are in the same major as you, but it also exposes you to all these fun things on campus like Greek Sing or Dance Blue.
Yeah, I'd probably say Dance Blue, even though I'm not as plugged into it as I know other people are, but like I have done it before, and it's a really great experience, and you meet a ton of people through Dance Blue. It has such a big following on campus, and if you, like, I didn't even know what it was going into college, but you should definitely check it out when you're here.
Raleigh also is an expert dancer because of that. So,
absolutely,
yes, on that note, I see a lot of co-op questions coming through, so we're going to move on to our next topic, which is careers. So we'll talk about co-ops and internships here shortly. But before we do, enjoy this clip about career services at UK's College of Engineering. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
With all of the resources that we have through the Career Development Center, any student that wants to get an internship has plenty of opportunities to prepare themselves and actually interview with people.
Our mission is to help students prepare for the step after UK.
They want to help you. They want to see you succeed. They want to see UK alumni everywhere in the world, in the top companies. They want you to succeed as much as you want to succeed. Not to mention the career fairs. We have massive career fairs with hundreds of companies coming.
The co-op and internship fairs that they have every semester are really great. You get to go out and talk to employers and find potential internships that you might be able to do over the summer or co-ops during the semesters.
This is not just about giving them a diploma after 4 or 5 years. This is about providing them options for a successful career after they leave here.
Welcome back to Engineering Live. We're back with a new student panel, and we're going to talk all about careers. So before we dive into our questions, we definitely want to brag about Omna here. You just accepted a job not too long ago. So yeah, can you share with us what company that is and what you're going to be doing?
Okay, sure. So I just accepted my job with Marathon Petroleum at their corporate headquarters in Ohio. I got my job because I co-opted with them twice. And I co-opted with them at one of their refineries and at their corporate location. So I'll be working as a refining engineer.
That's great.
Yeah.
Congratulations
Thank
on
you.
that. So between the three of you all have had some great co-op and internship experiences. So what might be helpful is if we just kind of define what co-ops are and internships are. And so, because I get those questions often. What is a co-op exactly? What defines a co-op?
Yeah, so a co-op is like an extensive internship. It takes place usually in the fall or the spring semester. They're usually paid, and it's like using your engineering principles that you learn in school and apply them as like a real engineer at a company.
Yeah. And then internships?
Internships are more typically, I'd say, during the summer, while co-ops are more typically during the semester. So co-ops are typically longer than internships.
Yeah, absolutely. So how did you all get your co-ops and internships? How did that come about?
Mine's actually a funny story.
Yes, let's hear it.
I got my internship through an organization on campus called the Mucking Team.
Okay, so for our audience, we need some context.
Mucking is like a competitive mining games organization.
Like the Lumberjacks version for engineers, right? Yes. Okay.
Yeah, so we do some gold panning and things like that. So it's an international competition that's held every year.
And where do you travel internationally?
Last year we went to London,
cool,
which was really cool, and then this year it was actually in Reno, Nevada, so it's held internationally every other year.
Oh, great.
But my freshman year we actually hosted it in Lexington, so we had some companies come sponsor us so we could put on the competition, and they were looking for summer interns, so that's how I obtained my internship.
Yeah, that's a unique way to get that. So, Vaughn?
So I actually got mine similarly through my involvement in an organization on campus. It's called NSBE, it's the National Society of Black Engineers, and we have these annual conventions every year. So my sophomore year was in Kansas City, Missouri, and so I went to the big career fair that we had. I talked to a company, interviewed with them, they liked me, and so they offered me an internship position. And then I interned with them that summer and the summer after that, and I'm going to be interning with them again after I graduate, so I'm excited for that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and then NSBE is a national organization, correct?
Yes. And so,
go ahead.
Yeah, we have a chapter here at UK. It's pretty active. They, make sure we get to convention. We also have like a fall regional conference. So it's like a smaller version of convention that happens in the fall semester. And so, yeah, we're pretty active here on our chapter. So.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, I got my first internship at the Society of Women Engineers International Conference, and that was in Philadelphia. It was a lot of fun. They have a huge career fair. And then I got my 2 co-ops. I did a co-op with Toyota and then 2 with Marathon, both at UK's campus at our fall engineering career fair.
So, and SWE is also a national organization, and so very active local chapter here at UK. That's very neat that you all, through your student organizations, were able to get some leads. So how did you all feel about going up for those interviews, and how did that experience go for you all?
So it's pretty nerve-wracking, especially when you start off as a freshman.
Oh, sure.
I remember one of the first interviews I had here on campus. I was nervous. I was very nervous. My palms are getting all sweaty. It gets better every time you do it, and especially once you reflect on the experience, look at what went well, what didn't go well. So I would say once you start reflecting, learning from past experiences, you definitely get better. I still get nervous these days, but you kind of learn how to cope with it, how to get into the flow state, I guess.
You can always ask around too. Everybody's always willing to help you and prepare you for them. So I'm actually in Phi Sigma Rho, the engineering sorority, and we always ask our sisters oh, I have a phone interview this weekend. What should I do? How do I prepare for that? So just asking around is a great way to be prepared for it.
Oh yeah, sure, absolutely.
Yeah. When I interviewed for my co-ops, I actually didn't even know if I wanted to like take them. I wasn't really nervous. I was unsure if I wanted to take that semester or 2 semesters off of school. But it ended up being like one of the best decisions I've ever made.
Oh yeah, naturally.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
It was a good experience.
Absolutely. So do you all feel like you all are very well prepared for your professional careers
Very
through
much
those
so.
experiences?
I'd say so. Especially when it comes to, like being in a professional setting. You learn that despite, through your internships and co-ops. You learn like how to relate with people in the office setting, how to, carry yourself, how to ask questions, how to seek out information. So those are things that you can't necessarily learn in the classroom. But, getting those internship and co-op experiences really helps you prepare for that. So.
Yeah, sure.
I definitely agree with that. Like learning how to be professional is hard to do unless you're actually in a professional setting. And also being able to apply what you've learned in school is awesome, but also bringing it back to school,
Sure.
which is something that I didn't really expect until I actually came back from my internship, and I was like, wow, this is all making so much more sense to me now. It definitely goes both ways.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. After I came back from my co-ops to UK, I felt like I was studying harder and better than I was before. But not only that, if you're an engineering major, your co-ops are going to pay you. My first co-op paid $20 an hour, and my second co-op paid $36 an hour, and I used that money to pay for my tuition, which was just awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that's a good point that I think some students don't realize right off the bat is you make good money while you're out there.
Yeah.
And so for students that maybe are stressed about how they're going to afford higher education, this is a good opportunity to do that, correct?
Definitely.
For sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, I've had the same experience. I do through my summer internships. I've been able to pay for what's not covered in scholarships. That little bit that's left, I can pay for that with the money I've earned in my internships.
That's great. Quick before we do some Q&A, because of course we could talk about co-ops and internships all day long.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give for a incoming student that's interested in co-ops and internships?
I would say get out there as soon as you can. Even if you're a freshman, just go to the career fairs, get yourself accustomed to talking to people, and yeah, don't give up. Just keep going at it, because it's worth just keep going.
Yeah, and like you said, don't think that as a freshman you can get, these internships and co-ops. I have multiple friends who have gotten internships and co-ops as freshmen. In fact, one of our freshmen in our organization in SB, he actually just secured a position with Microsoft this past convention as a freshman.
That's great.
Wow.
And so it's pretty big. It's not as common as like juniors and seniors, but it's possible.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with that. Put yourself out there as soon as possible. I obtained my internship as a freshman, and after being in the common first year, not taking any mining classes at all. So I was kind of intimidated by the fact that I hadn't taken any mining classes, but it's okay, because the companies that you work for they want to teach you more about the industry. So it's like, don't be intimidated by what you don't know, but be willing to learn.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's always great advice. On that note, we're going to go ahead and turn to some Q&A, because there's some good questions coming through. First, Vaughn, you got a shout out. So, so what advice would you have for an incoming freshman who is majoring in mechanical engineering?
I'd say get involved with an organization that allows you to apply some mechanical engineering knowledge right off the bat. So like the solar car team, that's a big one. It gives you really good design experience, whether it's whether you're working on chassis or suspension, 3D modeling, testing, that kind of thing, or the Formula One team or the tractor pulling team. There's a bunch of different organizations on campus that can really give you that hands-on experience. So definitely get involved with that. That's what employers want to see. They want to see that you're getting your hands dirty and actually applying what you're learning in classroom. So
definitely
get involved in an engineering society organization, I'd say.
Yeah, very good. So Ben wants to know, when can you start a co-op? Can you start it sophomore year?
Yeah,
definitely.
as early as you can. Yeah.
I've had friends who started, their sophomore year fall semester. That's when they started co-oping, so it's very possible.
Yeah.
Very good. Ann wants to know, can I do an internship whenever I want?
So does she mean like
summer?
During the semester?
Summer, and I would assume so. So
any summer you want, you can. You can start right after your freshman year.
Yeah. Amelia wants to know, can you co-op and go to school at the same time?
I would not recommend it.
I mean, you can take one class while you're co-oping. I wouldn't advise taking more than one class while you're co-oping because it's a lot of work. You most likely won't get off until like 4:30, 5 o'clock. Sure. And you want to use that time to unwind, go to the gym, cook dinner, that kind of thing. You don't want to necessarily be catching up on homework or lectures. So it's possible to squeeze in one class, but I would not recommend more than one.
Sure. Do you feel like by not taking classes that you would get more out of those co-ops because you're focusing all of your attention?
For sure.
Definitely.
Yeah. You're working full time, so you're spending a lot of your time there. So there's just not a lot of time left over to take classes. So you have to dedicate that time where it needs to go.
Griffin, this is a big question. This one's a loaded one. This will be our last question because it is a loaded one. Griffin wants to know what sets UK engineering apart from some of the other top programs in the country. So that's kind of a big question.
So right off the bat, for me, it's our chemical engineering faculty. Every professor that I've had in our faculty has been so invested in my success and every one of their students' success that it just shows in their classroom. They go out of their way to ask how things are, and if I were to go back and redo it, I would pick UK because of the professors that I have here.
I think that goes for not only chemical engineering, but the College of Engineering in UK as a whole, is that everybody cares about your success here.
Yeah.
Everybody wants you to succeed, and everybody's willing to help you do that. And I've heard from some of my friends who have gone other places that they don't have the same experiences, and I feel really bad for them because UK offers that, and I wish everybody had that experience. It's awesome.
Yeah, and I'll say two things. The first is definitely agreeing with them. How easy it is to build a meaningful relationship with your faculty and your professors. And the second thing I would say is just availability of opportunity. Whether it's the career fairs here at UK or the different organizations you can get involved in that would expose you to other opportunities outside UK, or the research here at UK. There's a lot of exciting stuff that's going on. Or the actual engineering organizations here on campus, and also study abroad. So this is an ending opportunity here. So
on
that's what I'd say.
And that's very true. A lot of options for our students to be able to really be kind of who they want to be and take their career paths and their education in a variety of directions. So on that note, we're about out of time. So but before we sign off, thank you all so much for taking time out of your night to join us for Engineering Live. For anyone that's interested in learning more about anything that we talked about, or maybe you have questions unrelated to anything we talked about, like admissions, scholarships, whatever, you all can reach me at john.roberts1@uky.edu, or you can text or call me on my cell phone, which is 859-951-6011. For updated content about how our faculty and our students and alumni are creating a world that works, definitely follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. There is a link below in the comment section. So we're curious to hear about your feedback about Engineering Live. We're always curious to figure out how we can make this better for prospective students. And so definitely take 30 seconds if you've got it and complete that survey. Like I said, it's in the description below. As a reminder for all admitted students in the audience, May 1st is a deadline to apply for housing and Sea Blue U orientation. So you want to get that done as soon as possible. Both of the links are down below in the description box, and as well as the live chat. So for more information or to register, click on those links. With that said, thank you all again for joining us for Engineering Live, and we look forward to seeing you all on campus soon. And as always, go Cats!
I 100% am positive that I made the right choice for coming to this university.
Going into engineering at UK, it's opened up a lot of doors that I didn't think that I would have an opportunity to go into.
I actually did not expect to be working in the robotics field as a mechanical engineer.
So as an out-of-state student, I didn't know anyone at UK before I got here. And so I definitely wanted to get involved right away so I could meet people and make new friends. Being a part of the LLP definitely helped me do that.
Going into the lab, it's a different experience than just going into a classroom and just writing down notes.
No longer scared of what's going to happen after graduation. I know how certain principles that we learn in classes are used in the field, and it was awesome.